There is a moment in the life of the scapegoat that the narcissist fears most. It's when the scapegoat awakens and finds their voice. When this happens, simple words become sharp knives that cut through decades of manipulation and control. The narcissist, who once dominated with ease, suddenly finds themselves facing someone who no longer accepts carrying the weight of their shadow. Have you ever felt this transformation? That moment when something inside you said enough is enough? Carl Jung deeply understood this dynamic when he explored how we project our shadow onto others. He discovered that within every family, there exists an unofficial guardian of the collective darkness. That guardian is you, the scapegoat. For years you carried the guilt, the shame, the unprocessed anger of the entire family. You were the problem, the drama, the different one. But Jung knew something your narcissistic family never wanted you to discover. He knew that the awakening of the scapegoat is game over for those who live by projections. But what really happens when the guardian of the family shadow awakens and begins to speak their truth? When 4 simple phrases destroy years of conditioning and completely flip the power dynamic? While you erased yourself to keep the peace, your true strength slept. While you accepted being the receptacle of others' pain, your authentic self waited for the right moment to emerge. How many times did you swallow your words to avoid more conflict? How many times did you make yourself small so that others could feel big? Look at your history. How many family gatherings did you spend listening to criticism disguised as concern? How many times was your pain minimized while others' feelings were treated as sacred? How many times were you forced to apologize for natural reactions to actual abuse? Do you recognize this pattern? It's because you were programmed since childhood to carry what others couldn't process. Your sensitivity was twisted into weakness. Your truth was labeled as drama. Your pain was called an overreaction. While you sacrificed yourself, they fed off it. While you absorbed the toxicity, they maintained their facade of being functional people. You were the perfect scapegoat. But today you will understand how this game works and how 4 simple phrases can shatter it forever. The dynamic between narcissist and scapegoat is one of the oldest patterns in the human psyche. Jung called this shadow projection. The narcissist, unable to deal with their own flaws, defects, and traumas, projects all of this onto a specific family member. This member becomes the repository of all the darkness the narcissist refuses to face. Imagine the narcissist as a cracked mirror that can only reflect a distorted image of perfection. Everything that doesn't fit this perfect image needs to be expelled, cast out, and you became the recipient of this expulsion. You became the family's emotional dumping ground. The scapegoat unknowingly becomes the guardian of everyone else's psychological integrity. While you carry the collective shadow, they can maintain their personas as normal, functional, even admirable people. You are the price they pay for not looking at their own wounds. But there's something they never told you. The real power was always in your hands. The moment you awaken and refuse to continue carrying the weight of others' shadow, the entire house of cards crumbles. And there are 4 specific phrases that devastatingly accelerate this process. The first phrase the narcissist hates most to hear from you is a simple yet revolutionary declaration. That's not my responsibility. 4 words that destroy decades of conditioning. When you stop accepting automatic blame, when you refuse to be responsible for other people's feelings, reactions, and problems, something inside the narcissist panics. Observe their reaction. When you say, "That's not my responsibility," they will desperately try to convince you otherwise. They'll say you're being selfish, insensitive, that you've changed for the worse. The truth is you're refusing to be their emotional dumping ground, and that terrifies them. The second phrase cuts even deeper. You're projecting. When you name what's happening, when you identify the shadow projection in real time, the narcissist loses control of the narrative. They rely on you not understanding the game. They need you to keep believing the problem is really yours. When you say, "You're projecting," you're basically saying, "I see what you're doing, I understand the mechanism, and I'm not going to participate in this dance anymore." It's like turning on the light in a dark room where they were hiding. The exposure is unbearable for those who live by projected shadows. The third phrase that shatters them comes loaded with an ancestral strength. "I don't need your approval." This is the declaration of emotional independence. For years you chased crumbs of conditional love. You twisted yourself, adapted, erased yourself in the hope of finally being accepted, loved, valued. When you finally understand that the approval of those who mistreat you is worthless, when you free yourself from the need to be validated by those who invalidate you, you cut the cord that kept them in control. They lose the power to manipulate you through the withdrawal of affection. You become free. The fourth and most powerful phrase is an affirmation that resonates with the strength of the true self emerging. I choose to step away. It's not a threat. It's not emotional blackmail. It's a calm and firm declaration that you will no longer allow your vital energy to be drained by toxic dynamics. This phrase represents individuation in its purest form. You are choosing your own well-being above the neurotic need to keep a sick family system functioning. You are saying no to the role of savior, emotional buffer, scapegoat. The reaction will be intense. They will try to pull you back through guilt, through threats of abandonment, through empty promises of change. But you have already awakened. You have already seen the pattern. You have already found your voice. Now that you know these 4 transformative phrases, how do you use them wisely? The first thing you need to understand is that it's not about revenge or attack. It's about defending your right to exist authentically. Each phrase is a tool of liberation, not a weapon of destruction. Before using these phrases, prepare yourself psychologically. Understand that there will be resistance, that there will be attempts to make you back down. The narcissist will try to intensify the manipulation when they realize they're losing control. They might oscillate between extreme rage and dramatic pleas. Practice what Jung called containment. Stand firm in your truth, but without letting yourself be dragged into the drama. Your words should come from a place of inner strength, not reactive wounding. When you speak your truth from the integrated self, the words carry a transformative power. Remember that these phrases are bridges to your freedom, not bombs to destroy others. Use them when necessary to protect your psychological integrity. Use them when you feel you're being pulled back into old patterns. Use them as reminders of who you truly are. Write these phrases in your journal. Practice saying them in the mirror. Feel the power they carry. That's not my responsibility. You're projecting. I don't need your approval. I choose to step away. Each repetition strengthens your new identity. You've changed. You can't unsee what you've seen, unlearn what you've learned. You understand now that carrying others' shadow isn't love, it's self-destruction. You know that your sensitivity is a gift, not a weakness. You comprehend that your truth doesn't need to be validated by those who deny it. You are no longer the scapegoat. You are the hero of your own journey. You are the living expression of a self that refuses to be diminished. Your words now carry the power of individuation. Your presence radiates the strength of someone who has found their own light. The game has changed. The rules are different. You discovered that you always had the power to break the chains. You just needed to find the courage to use it. These 4 phrases are your keys to a life where you no longer sacrifice yourself to keep others comfortable in their illusions. Comment on which of these 4 phrases resonates most with your liberation journey. Like if you felt the power of these words echoing in your soul. Subscribe to continue discovering the transformative power of your authentic truth. The journey home to your true self is just beginning. Integrate.